NBA Draft Day, and who better to break down some NBA draft talk and some of the other silly season information that has been dispersed over the last 12 hours than our very own Suns guru Kellan Olson. Killer, how we doing this morning?
What's up, buddy? Great to see your face. Great to see you, Wolf. How we doing?
Appreciate it, Killer. Doing well, man. What I want to know is, where are the Suns going to go tonight? Do you have any gut feeling right now, like one move they're going to make that you're sure of? What is it, Killer?
If I had to guess right now, it would be picking at 22 because I think their best option, I think they would agree, is trading down from 22. But we talk about it theoretically all the time, and getting two teams to agree on anything at that point, it seems very simple for us to just go, oh, well, yeah, Utah probably doesn't want 29-32, so they would take that and take 22. They'd like to move up 7 spots, but it's something that comes with negotiations and is why we rarely see these moves. But with that said, we do, and it greatly interests the Suns to pursue this because the bottom line in the talent drop-off of the NBA draft as a whole is that at a certain point, you get kind of mushed together with tiers of players, and I think the guy that you take at 22 isn't really going to be much better than the guy you take at 37 with what the Suns want in mind. Now, at 22, you could get USC point guard Isaiah Collier, who I believe has all-star upside. Now, he's a raw talent and wouldn't be ready for NBA minutes right away, so let's cross him off the list right now. That makes a lot of sense, but if you want someone who is ready to play right now, I think the guy you take at 22 isn't going to be that different from the guy you take at 29, 32, 37. So the Suns trading down and getting 2 or 3 guys who are ready for minutes right now and seeing if hopefully one works out. Because, K-Ray, we've been talking about this offseason for so long. The bottom line is, how do they get a rotation player out of this offseason? How do they add another piece that you can certifiably rely on? Because right now you're looking at 6 guys. Assuming Royce O'Neal comes back, you're looking at 6 guys. You need to get to at least 7. If you can get to 8, that's wonderful. So maybe you hit on a veterans minimum signing, you hit on this draft pick, you're 8 deep. That's all you need. But you need those guys because we saw there was a lot wrong in the Minnesota series, but chief among them was once Grayson Allen got hurt, they just didn't have anywhere to go.
Right. Positionally, if they stick at 22 or even, let's say, trade down a couple of spots, positionally, where do you think it stacks? Point guard, wing, big, wing, point guard, big?
I think with what they want, I think this is a really good point guard class for where they are in the draft. But again, it's what they want. And the kid out of Spain, Juan Nunez, I think is really intriguing in the 30s. But he is someone who is going to need to take time. Even A.J. Mitchell out of UC Santa Barbara is a point guard who has gained a bit of traction with the comparisons to Jalen Brunson and how he can get to the rim and how he can score a bit. Those guys are going to take time. I think Kolek is really the only guy, and another guy I love, Jamal Shed, way later in the draft, are the 2 guys who I think have a good shot to play right away and play okay. But when I look at wing, I think that's where there are a couple more possibilities with the skill set you would need. And I think comparing and contrasting these prospects, K-Ray, over the last couple of weeks, I think you can find contradictions in what I'm asking out of a point guard to do as opposed to what I'm asking a center to do. But that's because a point guard has so much more to do on the floor. If you take a Dembo down to UCLA at 37, all you want him to do is run as hard as he can up and down the floor, grab every rebound, be in the right spot on both ends. That's it. That is all he needs to do is hustle, rebound, be in the right spot. And he might have the highest motor in the draft. I really like him as a trade down target. So I think it's more towards center and wing just because of what you'd be asking for them to do. We're asking for a rookie to come in and play rotation minutes right away. Asking a point guard to do that is a lot tougher than a wing or a center.
So right now, as K-Ray calls it, it is silly season that is going on right now. Talk to me about just how absolutely silly it is right now. Do you believe that somehow, some way, the Suns might actually move Kevin Durant or Devin Booker?
Right. I think the thing that is the most difficult for most NBA fans to do right now in today's information age is taking the information you get for what it is and taking it at face value as opposed to looking 3 or 4 steps down the line, because speculation is super fun and looking into the possibilities of the craziest thing that could be happening is really fun. Here's what happened. The New York Knicks, blew away the Brooklyn Nets. They were listening to offers on Mikal Bridges. They weren't really too psyched on any of them, and then the Knicks just blew them out and said, the Nets were like, oh my gosh, we have to do this offer. What the Nets realized, though, is in order to do this offer, we're going to be terrible next year if we trade Mikal Bridges. Oh, we don't have our pick next year. We need to go get our pick. So they call Houston, who is like, okay, yeah, we'll do this. Oh, great. We have the Suns pick now. Great. This isn't anything where Houston was the aggressor here and went, we want Kevin Durant. We're going to go get it. Was just circumstance.
It was an inbound phone call.
It was circumstance from 3 different things that happened.
Yeah.
We're never talking about this if Mikal Bridges doesn't get traded. So where did it come from? How did we get here? That's how we got here. And I'll say this how I can. You know where information is coming from. You know what sides it's coming from. Most of this information we're seeing today is from Houston. Let's just call it for what it is. We're hearing it from the Houston side. They are interested in Kevin Durant. Great. I'm interested in a lot of things in my life. That doesn't mean that I can get them. I would love to have a 3-bedroom apartment right now. It's not happening. I'm in reality. That's okay. That's great. They don't want to give me that 3-bedroom apartment for $1,200 a month. They're not going to do it. We're not going to give you Kevin Durant for whatever they're offering right now. You know what the Suns don't want? Picks. Why would Matt Ishbia want draft picks right now? Why would he care? Now, if Houston wants to offer Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., Dylan Brooks, and 2 first-round picks, hey now, let's talk on the phone for a bit.
Right.
But if you want to come here talking about 2027 and 2029, by the way, 2025 is not a first-round pick. It's a swap, and the Suns are probably going to be better than the Rockets next year anyway. So that doesn't really matter. That's not really of interest to the Suns. Now we're talking about 2. Oh, yeah, but the 2029 pick has some conditionals on it. We're not talking about that on the TV, though.
Right.
So.
Why let a few facts get in the way of a story that's snowballing?
The one thing we're waiting for here is we know the Suns don't want to trade Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant's feelings on being in Phoenix suddenly change, now we're talking. But until we hear that from someone who is speaking with Kevin Durant, then no thank you. I do not need speculation. I'm sure, K-Ray, you hear stuff all the time, just like me. Do I go out and yell it in the streets every time I hear it? No. Hearing from Houston that Kevin Durant wants out, fantastic. That's great. Have they spoken with Kevin Durant? 99.9% sure they have not heard it directly from Kevin Durant. They heard it from another executive who heard it from another executive. Rival executives are talking all the time right now.
Can I just jump in here and say this? You know me, Killer, on this. My philosophy about sports, of course, and just the fact that I've been around it a lot and been in a locker room a lot, almost my entire life, as a matter of fact. If you were going to tell me that Mike Budenholzer came in here, new coach, and said, you know what, I want to create a new culture here, and I want to build it around Devin Booker. Hypothetically, I could see that happening. I'm not saying that is what's happening. I'm saying hypothetically, I could see that happening. And if you were going to build your culture around Devin Booker, you're going to move Kevin Durant. And one of the reasons why you would move Kevin Durant is because Devin Booker's always going to defer to Kevin Durant. I'm just saying.
No, totally.
And it's because of the humility that Book has. That is a scenario that I believe could be a possibility. Again, am I saying that's happening? No, I'm not. I'm not reporting anything. But just being around sports as long as I have, and being in a locker room as long as I have, and believing in culture the way that I do, there's a possibility. There's a possibility that you could convince me the Suns would be interested in that.
This is a consequence of losing in today's NBA that I think a lot of people don't realize. Do you remember all the chatter after the Dallas series 2 years ago? And how Monty Williams this, DeAndre Ayton that, Jay Crowder this, Chris Paul that? This is just what happens now, is when you underachieve, people start talking. Yeah. People start talking to people who are talking to other people, and then you try and piece together what exactly is happening, and then all of a sudden you've got a half-substantiated thing on what's going on here and what's going on there. It's the world that we live in today, like I said, with reporting. It is what it is, but again, to look at it from that perspective and the leadership of the Suns, Wolf, their head decision makers, they want to win. If you listen to what Matt Ishbia says, he just wants to do whatever is the best for winning right now. And I believe, and I think they totally believe, that at least another year of this experiment, whatever you want to call it, is the best path forward right now. If they felt differently, we'd have a whole conversation here about the best options and okay, what teams would be interested in Kevin Durant. Look, it would have to be Kevin Durant forcing himself to Houston for Houston to even get in on this, in my opinion, because what the Suns would want is making another competitive team going forward. Houston's making this trade is interested in this trade because they feel like they need a superstar next to all their great young talent. You can't get the superstar without giving up a great young talent. So then they'd kind of be stuck in a similar situation to the Suns, where the Suns would be going from 2 superstars to 1. Houston would be going from 0 to 1, but they would lose a lot of their young talent, just like the Suns did when they acquired Kevin Durant in the first place. It's a tricky middle ground to find that has a lot of substance to it, but there's lower thirds to fill on TV and stuff. So here we are.
And a perfect way to close it out.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.